What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report for November 11th. This is Friday. Now, here's what I can tell you. We still, as of right now, do not know who will control the House or the Senate. It is looking likely that Republicans are going to control the House of Representatives, and we are going to see a split, most likely, for the Senate. It will most likely be 50-50, and Democrats will remain in control because of Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, today's video I want to talk about what the White House just outlined, because they outlined their lame duck Congress session. So I will address what was said there. We're going to talk about President Biden's new problems. We're also going to address how Americans cannot pay their bills, what's going on there, and why there has been a huge shift. So, if you have any questions whatsoever, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. All I ask is if you can spend just 2 seconds, go ahead, hit that like button, and let's continue. So first off, what is going to happen over this lame duck session? When is the lame duck session? Well, it's now. The lame duck session is now. Until the beginning of January when the new Congress comes in. But here's what we know. According to the White House press secretary, she said just yesterday, these are the priorities for President Biden. First, we have to get the government funding bill. As of right now, the government funding bill, the CR, the continuing resolution, it only goes until like December 15th, 16th, right around there. So that's a key priority. President Biden also wants to continue to defend Ukraine. That's a big thing. That's a huge priority for him. That's not something that Republicans want, though. They also want to fund the disasters that we've had here in the U.S. This is another thing. We've been running short on money, but we need to continue to fund those things. We need to give back to the people here in the United States. They also want to provide more funding, well, for COVID. We knew this was coming. We knew it was coming. They wanted to provide a little bit more funding this winter. Well, now's when they're asking for it. She also stated that we need to pass the long overdue marriage equality bill. We need to pass the Electoral Reform Act and also the Defense Authorization, which would likely include Senator Joe Manchin's permitting bill. That is what she said. Those are Democrats' key priorities during this lame duck session. Now, I can tell you right now, I don't think all those things are going to get passed. One thing that has to get done is the government funding bill. That is the one thing that I firmly believe they will get done because it needs to. All the rest, well, it's really up in the air. So, we're going to see what happens there, but that is what we know as of today. Let's talk about this problem that President Joe Biden has. And that is that a U.S. District Court in Texas just last night, Thursday night, blocked President Biden's student loan forgiveness program. This is the second time. This court says that President Biden doesn't have the authority to cancel student debt. Now, the people that brought on this, okay, the people that first brought this on in Texas, the two of them, one doesn't have any student debt relief coming to them. The second one only has partial relief. Okay? Now keep that in mind, because the people that are opposing this and questioning the student loan forgiveness, some say it's unlawful, others say that it's not providing enough forgiveness to those that truly need it. But either way, we are going to have an answer fairly soon as to whether or not student debt forgiveness actually does happen. Now, in this one, the U.S. District Court in Texas, okay, this is the second block on student loan forgiveness. The first one is coming from the 8th U.S. District Court of Appeals, which they did this, I believe, about 3 weeks ago. So right now, we still don't have answers. We are still waiting to see whether or not up to $10,000 will be forgiven in student loan debt. But as of right now, it's really up in the air. We do not know if President Biden does have the legal authority to cancel this much debt, or is he going to try to push this over to Congress? And Congress, if they are split, is going to do absolutely nothing. So we will see what happens moving forward. But as always, I will keep you updated with what we learn as soon as we get that information. And now here's the big story. The big story is that Americans are struggling to pay their bills. Just the other day, I get an email. And in the email it says, I only have $14 to my name. I need to pay for my insurance on my car, need to pay my cell phone, need to buy food. I have no money. So they need to buy food, they need to pay their insurance on their car, they need to pay their cell phone bill. 3 payments, right? 3 things. And they got $14 to their name. That's not good. We know auto loan delinquencies have hit a 10-year high. And I actually just got a comment earlier this week saying that this person has a $600 car payment. $600. They cannot pay it. They cannot pay it. They lost their job. They only were making $1,900 a month, and now they have a $600 car payment with no income coming in whatsoever. This is the problem. The average person is now turning to credit cards in order to pay their bills, put food on the table, right? Many have turned to pulling out cash out of their credit cards as well, which is likely to result in a higher interest rate. Now, this wouldn't be a major problem if you never had to pay this money back, but you do. And this is where it becomes an issue. What I've seen over the past year, or actually over the past 2 years, and I've heard friends and family members have the same reasoning, is I can buy that car. I can afford a $400 monthly payment. That's nothing. That's nothing. Right? Or people buy an RV. It's like, oh, it's only $250 a month. That's nothing. I can pay that. That's no big deal. I got $250 extra dollars laying around. But what we're seeing now is people are starting to lose their jobs. Meta cut, thousands of jobs. Twitter has laid off many. Citigroup is downsizing. So many more companies are letting people go. And this is where the problems begin. Let's just say you have a $200 car payment. In 2022, that's not a bad payment. That's a very affordable car payment. I know people that have a $1,600 car payment. Okay? I have a friend that pays about $3,100. It's an exotic car, but he pays $3,100 a month. Right? But here's the problem. If you could barely afford a $200 per month car payment back when you first got it, and now let's say you or your spouse or your loved one or whatever lose your job, just one of you loses their income, can you still afford a $200 car payment? In most cases, the answer is no. Now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but too many people are missing what is really going on out there. Yeah, we're seeing inflation come down in certain indexes, but that doesn't mean your costs are dropping. Just because, used car prices are coming down, awesome. Just because certain retail is dropping, wonderful, right? But when food, energy, and shelter are all going up, those are the things we all use. So just because inflation is coming down, is our inflation coming down? Are our costs dropping? Most cases, no. I looked through the chart yesterday to see what was all coming down. Here's what I can tell you. The stuff that I spend money on is going up, right? The stuff that I don't spend money on was going down. So is this really our inflation that is coming down? No. My inflation is going up, not coming down. My inflation is not at 7.7%. It is much higher. Now, when it comes to our incomes, we're seeing more and more layoffs happen right now. Housing is taking a hit. Banking is losing thousands of jobs. Truckers are simply leaving the industry, right? Tech is laying off people day after day. We may see a railroad strike. And even after talking to a friend of mine who does work for the railroads, he says after all the negotiations are done, depending on what happens, he may not go on strike. He may simply leave the industry. So the overall consensus is that really many people hired too quickly. Employers hired people that they shouldn't have hired, or possibly employees got too greedy and took too much. So we'll see what happens, but right now there's still a lot on the table. The good news isn't going to be here to stay forever. We are going to see more bad news, and according to experts, it's going to happen fairly soon. So, as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.